You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, let's talk about the growing pandemic. Once again, COVID-19 deaths are rising after weeks of record-breaking new cases and hospitalizations. At least 30 states suffered higher rates of new deaths this past week compared to the previous weeks. As of today, there are 4,649,102 confirmed cases of COVID-19. 47,576 of those cases are new. So far, folks, 154,471 people have died from the virus, and 469 of those deaths are new. In Georgia, hundreds of employees in Georgia's largest school district have either tested positive for the virus or have been exposed. We're talking about whether we've entered a new phase in the pandemic. In fact, Dr. Birx has said that Donald Trump is now saying she's wrong, but she's the expert. Joining us right now is Dr. Tyson Bell, critical care and infectious disease specialist at the University of Virginia. Dr. Bell, again, to sit here and to have Dr. Birx over the weekend come out and say, look, we're entering a new phase. She's speaking about facts. Then Trump is blasting her by saying, oh, she's only saying this because Nancy Pelosi criticized her. And now the White House keeps saying, oh, we have all of this stuff because we're doing more testing. In Mississippi, they've shown a decrease in testing, but an increase in cases.
Well, Roland, I think you've seen how this White House peddles in untruths and inaccuracies and try to peddle it as facts. This is not unexpected. I think Dr. Birx was probably hitting her breaking point, and at some point just had to say, you know, this is not going well, and to just level with the American people and say what was on her mind, that despite several months of into this pandemic, having an example of how to do it correctly, how to do it right with several other countries, even regions of our country, we've still yet to be able to hit our testing marks that we need to test, trace, and isolate like we need to, treat like we need to, and ultimately give the American people accurate information that they need from the very top.
And again, when you see the numbers, when you see what's going on here, it just speaks to what's not happening. And for some reason, these people just refuse to listen to experts who say, look, if we do distancing and we put on masks and we wash our hands and we simply be patient, we can adequately confront this problem.
I think, you know, every time we've had serious medical health crises, there have been conspiracy theorists and people just making stuff up. The difference this time is that now these people are being elevated by the administration. So, you know, it's not surprising that there's erosion now in our public health trusted experts, our physicians, our epidemiologists, our healthcare workers, when you see, you know, how people are being treated at the top. We have to keep pushing this message forward and make sure that people understand what they need to do to keep themselves healthy, because unfortunately, we're just not getting that consistent messaging from the Trump administration.
Well, and again, what this administration is doing is Donald Trump wants to keep lying about this to make it seem as if things are going better than they actually are. I mean, it's undeniable what he's trying to do.
Right. He's talking so much about how we're picking up many cases because we're testing, but that ignores the fact that we are not doing the level of testing that we need to do, and we're still seeing that our cases are rising. We do have a little bit of recent good news that our daily cases have started to go down in some of our hotspot states. But if you take a step back and look at us compared to several other countries that have managed to get this pandemic under control. So, for instance, several countries in Europe that had a wave in the spring along with New York City over here, but they've managed to keep their pandemic under control, whereas cases are still going up here. If you look at the difference, we have to test about 12 people to get a positive case for COVID-19. Whereas in Europe and many other countries there, it's every 150 or every 250 tests to get a positive case. So they're testing a wider range of people in order to pick up cases, whereas over here, our tests are going up. And that's an undeniable fact, but our cases are rising faster than our tests are going up. And there's no other explanation for that other than your virus is circulating more widely. It's inexcusable.
So here we are in August, and now we're going into September. Now we're about to go into the fall. Donald Trump threw out, no, once the heat comes, this thing is going to burn itself out. No, we're not seeing that. So in about a month or two, we're now about to run up against COVID and flu season.
Right. And I'm very concerned about that. And, Roland, before COVID-19 hit, there was a pandemic that was caused by a virus that caused respiratory illness that impacted African Americans more so than my white counterparts. And that was influenza. That has always been a big problem in the African American community, and same comorbidities and same problems that we have on top of COVID-19. And now that we're going into this season, we're thinking about opening colleges up more in schools, people moving around more. And we are not in a position to do this to the level that we're planning on at this point.
So moving forward, what do you say to the folks who are watching? What do you say that we should be saying to our family members and to our friends and our church members and fraternity and brothers and sisters in terms of dealing with this? Because, look, I see these white folks out here acting the fool when it comes to masks and stuff like that, but it's a lot of black folks who are hard-headed, who are still having get-togethers, who are still, not social distancing, and we're still being affected. I just saw a story today of a 17-year-old kid. Both of his parents have died from COVID-19. They died within 19 days. A brother out of Atlanta.
I think we have to keep reinforcing these messages. And if it's not going to come from the top, then it comes from our community, our trusted leaders, the people that we rely on for accurate information. So that would be clergy, trusted public health officials, in addition to the medical community. Because we're not getting consistent messaging from the top, we have to carry that burden. But, Roland, progress has been on the backs of African Americans from the beginning. So I think we can unite and get this message together, but it's going to be on us.
All right. Dr. Tyson Bell, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Tiffany Lawton, look, it's going to require our organizations. It's going to require us pushing people to get them to understand that, look, stop thinking all is well, because the issue isn't just, put the graphic back up, folks. The issue is not just the deaths. And that's, I think, part of the problem here. Dr. Ebony Hilton has been telling us this here. You see that 154,000 folks have died. The issue, though, the people who are surviving are still having serious health issues, Tiffany. That cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, it can't be overlooked, Roland. And also, we have to set a better example. To the doctor's point earlier, we are the ones that can save ourselves and not listen to the leaders who clearly have not had a plan and who do not care about our health, well-being, and survival. The NAACP has made sure that we continue to cancel all in-person meetings. Our virtual convention is not happening in person. We're not showing up in person to the March on Washington. We're having the march online virtually because we have to lead by example. I saw a really funny meme on Instagram that said, just because you're tired of the pandemic does not mean that it's over. And I think that everybody is tired, rightfully so. This has been happening. I've been in the house since March 11th. This is my house. I've been in the house since March 11th. We're tired of this,
and we know you hate being at the house, all the traveling you do. I mean, we know you can't stay and be at the house.
I had to call my airlines and I had to say, wait a minute, is my status going to stay the same between now and 2021? Because this does not count. 2020 has been canceled. And so I really want us to do a better job of communicating to our audiences, not your audience, but like our audiences, our people in our communities, to let them know that this is not over, and that if we don't take it seriously, the folks who have the cases, the 4 million who have it, they're still going to be outside if they do get better. And if they do still have it, they're going to pass it on to other people. And it's sad that we are losing loved ones and folks who should still be here because of our lack of discipline. But I really hope that we can get this done sooner than possible, because I'm trying to be outside before my next birthday next year.
Amisha Cross joins us right now. Amisha, to Tiffany's point, I'm Vice President Digital, lifetime member of the National Association of Black Journalists. Our virtual convention starts on Wednesday. And the reality is we have to just I just think we got to just keep hammering to our people, look, protect yourself at all costs, because folks are taking way too many chances when it comes to COVID-19.
Roland. Roland, because at the end of the day, what we have seen is so many people who have become lax, not only with not wearing masks, but also with going to places in large groups. I drove past an area yesterday in Atlanta where there were literally a line of at least 150 people trying to get into this spot that I think was a nightclub or a lounge of some sort. I think that there are people who just really aren't taking COVID-19 seriously, especially those of younger ages. And the more we hear about these positive test cases and the fact that states are willy-nilly with some cities deciding that they're going to be a little bit more regulatory than others, that's not necessarily helping either. Because the fact is COVID-19 is here and it looks like it's here to stay, at least for a while. So we have to prepare now so that we can all be out and in the streets and being able to do the things that we used to do sooner rather than later. But right now, we all are kind of in this together, and we need to take as many precautions as possible.
All right. And Eugene, again, knowledge is power, information is power. And at the end of the day, I just tell everybody, whatever Donald Trump says or his administration says, ignore it. If it's coming from Fauci, listen. But the rest of those fools, just ignore them.
That's great advice.
I agree 100% with you. Look, the only thing we know actually works against this virus is a mask and social distancing. Everything else we're still figuring out. Vaccine we're figuring out. Treatments we're figuring out. But the one thing we know works is wearing a mask and socially distancing.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.